Country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language is fluid. Yes, and Latino voters are fluid. And then there's abortion, a difficult issue for the Democrats to lose on, but they're trying. For decades, liberals have said if only men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be an issue. And abortion rights are women's rights. Well, that's wrong now. Or as the kids say, hold up.
It has been almost a year since Bill Maher started openly criticizing the woke movement, and he clearly has no plans to slow down. This time, his focus is on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has been traveling across the country promoting her progressive ideas. But Bill Maher is pushing back hard against that message. In this video, we're going to break down what he said and why it's creating so much discussion. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and let's get started.
I see a new poll reporting how much Latinos despise the woke term Latinx. It's about as popular with them as a reboot of Speedy Gonzales. Even the country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language is fluid. Yes, and Latino voters are fluid.
The conversation began the way Bill Maher often starts these debates, by asking tough and uncomfortable questions. His attention quickly turned to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her continued push for strong progressive policies. According to Bill Maher, many everyday Americans are becoming less supportive of these ideas. He questioned why leaders would continue promoting a political approach that many people now see as divisive and disconnected from real concerns. While some politicians might pause and rethink their strategy, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez appears confident that her direction is correct. Bill Maher didn't stop with simple criticism. He carefully broke down his argument and challenged the ideas behind the movement, making it clear he believes these policies are moving the country in the wrong direction. His comments were direct, and they set the stage for a much deeper debate.
Abortion, a difficult issue for the Democrats to lose on, but they're trying. For decades, liberals have said if only men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be an issue. And abortion rights are women's rights. Well, that's wrong now. Or as the kids say, hold up. When the wokey end of the progressive spectrum talks about abortion now, they shy away from that word, women, and prefer terms like birthing people or people who menstruate, because somewhere there's a trans man who's pregnant, and I say good for him, and I'll be looking for his story somewhere in a future issue of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
One major issue Bill Maher focused on was the growing debate around defining what a woman is. A decade ago, this topic rarely caused public argument. Most people saw it as a biological matter. But in recent years, new ideas about gender identity have changed the conversation. According to Bill Maher, many Americans became frustrated when they felt basic questions were dismissed or criticized. Instead of clear discussions, some people felt they were being labeled unfairly just for asking questions. Over time, that frustration grew stronger. Bill Maher argued that this growing disconnect played a role in weakening trust between voters and political leaders. For him, the issue wasn't about hate or prejudice. It was about people feeling that common sense concerns were no longer being taken seriously.
More of them now than ever are identifying as Republican. So are Asian Americans, whose support for Democrats is down 16 points since the last election. A lot of that is because, in the name of achieving equity in schools, Democrats in deep blue cities have made it a mission to eliminate the advanced programs at which Asian kids excel. Asian parents said, okay, I wish all kids well, not a racist, but I need someone who acts like my lawyer.
Bill Maher also argued that when voters feel ignored, they eventually respond. For years, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and many members of her party appeared confident that their support was secure, especially in strongly Democratic areas. But according to Bill Maher, that confidence may have gone too far. Some voters who once supported these leaders have started questioning their direction. In several places, support has shifted in surprising ways, with some voters even turning toward Republicans. What makes this change significant, according to Bill Maher, is how quickly it happened. Communities that once seemed politically stable are now showing signs of change. This raises an important question. Is this only a temporary setback for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or could it signal a much larger political shift ahead?
An 85% Latino congressional district on the border with Mexico, which had always voted heavily Democratic, flipped to the red team. And the campaign manager for the losing Democrat said, "We gave up a reliably Democratic congressional seat for no reason at all. We deserve to know why." Well, aside from your terrible attitude, I'm going to tell you why. Because these voters stopped seeing your candidate as their lawyer.
During the discussion, Bill Maher repeatedly used the phrases, "my lawyer" and "their lawyer." He explained that this wasn't about courts or legal cases. Instead, it was his way of describing what voters expect from the people they elect. In simple terms, voters want leaders who fight for them and represent their interests. Bill Maher argued that many voters now feel the opposite is happening. Rather than focusing on the concerns of everyday people, some politicians appear to lecture them or push policies without listening. According to Bill Maher, this creates a serious disconnect. Even though Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez often speaks about helping ordinary people, some voters now question whether their voices are truly being heard. As Bill Maher continued his argument, he carefully pointed out example after example to support his claim that the gap between politicians and voters is growing wider.
Parent and wanted schools to reopen a lot sooner than they did after COVID shutdowns, or think maybe your kid is getting a bad education partly because it's nearly impossible to fire a lousy teacher? Yeah, you're going to say, "Congratulations, teachers, you got yourself a good lawyer. The Democratic Party's always got your back, 100%. But I've noticed my kid is kind of an idiot. So I may be looking for new representation."
Another topic Bill Maher highlighted was education. He argued that recent policy decisions have also caused frustration among parents. During the Joe Biden administration, some policies supported by progressive leaders made it harder for schools to remove teachers who perform poorly. While the intention may have been to protect workers, Bill Maher said the results have been troubling. Student performance has dropped in several areas. National data shows that math scores for 13-year-old students fell sharply between 2020 and 2023, marking the largest drop in decades. Reading scores also declined. Because of this, many parents are asking what went wrong. At the same time, leaders like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez continue promoting broader progressive ideas, while Bernie Sanders focuses on economic inequality. For many families, however, the main concern is simpler. They want better results for their children in school.
And Biden wants to cancel hundreds of billions of dollars in student debt. Okay, but the poorer 2/3 of American kids who don't get a college degree are going to say, "Why should the people who didn't go to college and make less money subsidize the people who did go and make more? You want me to chip in so some liberal arts college can build a bigger rock wall? You're not my lawyer." A universal basic income probably sounds pretty good to a lot of people struggling without a college degree. And a number of cities have been running pilot programs in guaranteed income. But the West Hollywood program had to be suspended because it was unconstitutional. They set up a program where 25 residents were to get $1,000 for 18 months, but only a few identified as LGBT, the rest of that. Why? Because they need money more than any other people? Because no one in West Hollywood will hire a gay person?
Viewed several policies that Democrats promoted in recent years, but later struggled to defend. One example was the defund the police movement, which lost support after crime increased in some major cities. Another example involved proposals to cancel rent payments, an idea that critics said ignored basic economic realities. There were also debates about removing standardized testing in schools, with supporters arguing it was unfair and critics saying it removed accountability. Bill Maher believes these kinds of policy mistakes have hurt the party's credibility. In his view, each failure pushes moderate voters further away. Yet despite these setbacks, many of the same leaders continue promoting similar ideas. For Bill Maher, this raises a serious question about whether the party is learning from its mistakes.
And in 2020, Bernie Sanders said he would legalize marijuana on his first day as president, but that the business of selling pot would be awarded first to those who suffered most from the drug war. And you know what? I can't argue with that instinct. The drug war has been a horrendous instrument of prejudice and punishment for racial minorities, so it seems fair that they jump the line for weed franchises the way Indians did for casinos. But it's also what's holding up Republican support for legalizing weed nationally, which would be good for everybody. And these are the hard, practical choices that Democrats have to weigh. Redress the past, or reach out to the gettable white voter who says, you know what, I'd like a shot at getting in the pot business. But to do that, our entire audience. But to do that, I'm going to need a good lawyer who fights for.
Toward the end of his argument, Bill Maher delivered a clear message about what Democrats must do if they want to regain public support. He said political slogans and social media messages are not enough. Instead, leaders need to honestly acknowledge past errors and reconnect with voters who feel ignored. That means having real conversations with people, listening carefully, and understanding their concerns without dismissing them. Bill Maher emphasized that rebuilding trust requires effort and humility. If leaders continue speaking only to supporters who already agree with them, they risk losing the broader audience they need to win elections. According to Bill Maher, time is running out for that change to happen.
These issues, the wavering voter is saying to her lawyer, the Democratic Party, hey, so happy for you that you have so many other clients and that you care so much about their problems and all the pro bono work you do, but you're supposed to be my lawyer. The Democrats need to be like the lawyers you see on billboards. You hurt, we fight.
In the end, Bill Maher wasn't simply criticizing the Democratic Party. He was challenging it to take a hard look at itself. He argued that the party has drifted away from many of the voters it once represented. Through his commentary, Bill Maher pointed to problems in policy decisions, communication, and leadership priorities. His message was direct. If Democrats want another chance to lead, they must reconnect with reality and with the people they represent. Ignoring voter concerns will only push more people away. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed the discussion, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.